Hey everybody, this is Charles Calhoun, aka the ShadeTree Pro. Once again, as I said before, sometime I like coming out to my tennis court in my complex and shoot videos, and it's just kind of it's really good evening here tonight in Florida, and I wanted to do one for you. Now, I've been talking to some gentlemen about my top-down philosophy. And the one thing I want to make sure that everybody understands, I'm not just changing some language, with like my dead fingers, this, that, or what. Everything that I'm doing, that I've done some real research for or on the subject matter. Now, one of the biggest things I learned about the dead finger is like once you get something right, in the body, then it transfers all the way to the rest of the body. I just kind of had to get out the way and just allow it to happen for me. For an example, because as I speak about the dead finger and how it collects, it locks in on the golf club, that if you try to take your dead fingers off the golf club and swing it, man, it's really, really difficult, because that finger, that dead finger, the weakest finger on your hand, is very, very valuable to your grip. So it has to lock in, even if you're just picking up a can, picking up a bottle, throwing a ball. And by doing so, like I said, it sends these, whether it's energy or however you want to find it, but it also tells the other parts of the body, the correct parts of the body, how it needs to function in a sense to be able to create a task. For an example, if you had a sledgehammer in your hand with a heavy weight and you're going to swing it and you got it all over your hands, you may break your wrist or anything else. So the dead fingers truly lock in and then make the body stabilize for you to be able to make a swing action. So one of the first things it is now, that like I said, I can show the difference in actions, movements in comparison to the ground up, which I'm not telling anybody. If you feel you want to come from the ground up, that's you. I'm not telling you not to do that. What I'm saying is that my perspective and my understanding, my teaching, my learning is going to be from the top down. I can teach it just as well from the ground up, but because I know the difference between the two and the actions required, and the actions are different, that I can bring it from the top down, because I feel and I believe, because I've done both of them, that the actions that I'm creating makes the golf swing a lot simpler. And a lot of you as my followers out there have also told me the same thing, and I am definitely getting results. So, and the results are much faster in a sense. I always said that the confusion in golf is nobody believed or understood that there is a difference between the two. In a clinic that I did, I said, hey, I kind of want to make it the challenge, like Coke versus Pepsi in a sense, to see the difference. But one of the most important things that I can tell you here, that from my top-down philosophy, is rhythm. It is an athletic rhythm. So I'm going to show you all a little drill here that I want you, for those who wants to come under the shade tree and understand and learn my top-down philosophy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the number one thing that you have to start learning from rhythm. Now, you've seen, Harvey Pinnick do his magic move. You've seen me do videos of copying and talking about Harvey Pinnick's magic move. I adored Harvey Pinnick and his teaching and his language. I just created my own from many of the teachers that I studied, along the way, from the new teachers to the old teachers. You can learn so much, in a sense, if nothing else, what not to do. So here's a rhythm that I want you all to understand. As I said, Newton's law, basically, if something goes up, it comes down. I know there's all kinds of different science that talk about it, but here's this. If the arm comes up, and I don't care, it's got to come down. So eventually, over time, even if you use your muscles to hold this up, once it gets tired, and eventually it's going to naturally come down. We can't get that. Only thing I'm doing is just making that situation happen faster for a direct strike to the golf ball. When a young kid first grab a golf club, the first thing that they do, without you telling them anything about hip turn or whatever, they grab their toy golf club, they pick it up, and they bring it back down. And it's just a natural, instinctive action to do so. So let's take advantage of that. So here's the drill that I want you to do to learn how to get the rhythm of my top-down philosophy. And it's called, letting the air out, kind of like in a balloon. Now, you've heard many times before, or you may have heard, people talking about hawking the ground, where they take their toes and feel like they're grabbing grass or squeezing the grass. You may have done it in the summer times as a kid. I know we did back in the days of West Virginia, running around with our shoes off. Kids still probably do it to this day. But what I want you to do, because when I create my 3-body setup and I create the dorsiflexion in my feet, something I don't talk about is that I actually hawk my toes to the ground as if I'm grabbing the ground. I want to do that. That's my stabilization. Now, when I take my swing and do what I need to do, get the club up to the top, this is the rhythm I want you to work. I have this heavy training club in a sense, you know, you've seen it many, many times, but it's good to use a heavy club to do this because you can feel the rhythm. All I want to do from the top of my swing, what I want to do, now I told you my toes are hawking, in other words, grabbing the ground, and this is why this is letting the air out. What I want to do, and if most of you know, these toes are in flexion right now. What I want to do is that when I come down, when I pressure these moves of my science from the top down, what I want to feel like is that my toes are going into dorsiflexion. They're extending. They're letting the air out of the balloon. It's like, psh, psh. And that's what I'm feeling. Now, what's important about that is that what it does is when you do that, it allows you to, for the right side or the trail side of the body, to center, to basically go down to where the heel touches the ground. You center, you get to your back to your neutral position, and then you can go forward. Now you can set in your house and you can sit there and you can get the rhythm of that. You can continuously feel in the toes, in essence, going into extension, letting the air out so the heel can touch the ground, and then you can move on through the ball. And the purpose of that, or the reflection of that, comes from, you know, when you're starting a car or you're driving a car, you don't go from drive to reverse, or you don't go to reverse to drive without passing neutral. So you don't get to the trail side of the body, which I'm never in a rush to get off of my trail side. You all seen how I work my videos of how I work from outside to inside of my foot. But but I do know eventually you're going to end up over here on your lead side. I just don't rush it, because the first thing that I do is I feel that I'm trying to get back to neutral first, and then it allows me to go through. Because most of you are just getting up here and then you're turning your hips and you're going from whether it's reverse or forward directly into drive, and you're not getting to neutral. Neutral allows you to get to the center, wherever the golf ball is. So remember, get it up to the top, use a heavy weight, boom, and get the feeling of that, get the rhythm of that. See, and this rhythm is conducive to every single person, just like my dead finger. We all can do this. This is not, now you get to create what it feels like for you. You know, I call it letting the air out. You may call it something else, but that's fine and dandy. You know, you got that right. But the most important thing that I'm trying to do is get you to feel, in a sense, from that top-down move, is to feel that you're letting the air out. And there's your rhythm. There's your rhythm that you need to train to get back to the neutral position. You do that, and then all of a sudden you'll start having that personal rhythm, that personal feeling, that every time you go out to the golf course, or every time you go from the driving range to the golf course, you have taking, not a feel, but you're actually taking a move that you can create any feel that you want. This is Charles Calhoun, aka the ShadeTree Pro. Give that a try, and remember, always good golfing.